Good evening.
Hi, Brian.
How are you?
Oh, I'm having trouble hearing people. Let's see if I can fix that. Oh, that's a bummer. I'm having trouble hearing. Let me see if I can fix my audio. How about now?
I hear you.
Okay. I'm not sure I'm qualified to do this, guys.
Oh boy.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
Very good.
How's winter there?
We're starting to have a cold front move in, so it's gonna drop like 30 degrees tonight and a little bit of dusting of snow. How about you?
I think there's a foot of snow on the way there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. What's your hat?
That's us.
Is that you? Cool.
Yeah. Aaron Briley.
Very cool. Well, it looks like Aaron from your part of the woods, he couldn't make tonight, but
Okay.
I saw some other people were intending to. Do you have much background with certification programs?
I don't have any.
Yeah.
I'm on the con side,
Are you?
not the
Yeah.
pro. Yeah.
I have
If
been.
it-
I have been as well, but I sort of recently became more open-minded to it for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. It's I'm not against it.
Sure.
I have not found the use for it yet.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so you do the finishing, and I think that's a really strong business model. I think more people should jump on board. I'm kind of hoping to, but it's hard. I was looking into it a little bit, and you know, you have, the critter has to be managed that way, whatever the program is, like from before it's born, right? So if you're not, you know, doing the whole thing, retained ownership, then that's going to be tricky to insure or to record.
Yeah, and we're so in Quebec here, it's French. We're lucky that we're bilingual, but all our market is pretty well French, and Quebec is really far behind. So there a lot of things that would be getting certified, they wouldn't even know what it is.
Oh.
It's a little bit weird, and trends move east from west to east. So the farther you go, sometimes there's, in Canada anyway.
So you're saying like the western side is more progressive, kind of?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. I try to go to west every 5 years to steal some ideas just to get ahead of the pack here.
Cool. Yeah, I really want to come visit Alberta. It feels like just like northern Montana, but I know it's in, that's probably wrong, but I would love to visit it. That'd be fun.
I'm pretty sure it is very similar.
Yeah, I know, it's just, it's not America. So like there would be, you know, regionally, climate wise and cattle wise and conditions would be similar, but it would just, you know.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be good.
I just got the information for grass-fed exchange today in Texas. We are at the last one in California. I would like to get to Texas.
What's the grass-fed exchange?
Oh, that's the biggest meeting of grass-fed people, I guess, in North America. It's every year, supposedly. The COVID kind of messed it up for the past couple of years. There's usually built at least 500 people end up going to this. 1 day of tours and then 2 days of the best of the best telling us what's going on out there. It's a great event.
So the event moves locations?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool. What kind of locations have you attended?
I was at the one in California that was Santa Rosa. So we got to spend the rest of the week in the vineyards, and then the one that was close to home in New York State.
Oh, cool. Well, in the meantime, I'm not sure who else is going to join. I know some other people were planning to, but so what are your main thoughts on why you've never been attracted to any kind of certification program thus far?
For me, everything comes down to time, energy, and money.
Sure.
And those are the three things we have to invest in our life and on our farm. And so I always measure of like paperwork. I have an allergy to paper, so I try to eliminate as much as possible. And it comes down to how much more money can I get with these certifications.
Sure.
So again, I think we're always at the top of where we can get market wise with our product, and certification could potentially bring us some more customers, but I don't think we can get more money out of it.
Okay. So my thought on it, and I'm just sort of in the early research stage, is we have a lot of pretty good operations in my general area. And I was thinking of like, how do I have room to grow my operation and expand my market share? If like, I was wondering, like, what do I have that I can use to differentiate my operation from all the others around me? And things like story and your background are just not captivating to the market. They don't care. And so it's really like the quality of the product, but people don't, I don't know, I've had some maybe bad experiences with like other people I've ran into at the farmers market, and I don't know how much they're doing it on purpose or not. I don't want to put that intention on them, but they're pretty misleading about how their product is raised, and it's like, in my mind, from what I gather, it's not that far from like your industrial food product, but they're putting it off as this like, wholesome, pure, unadulterated thing, and that bothers me, obviously, because I try to make my product as true to those beliefs that people are after as possible. And I didn't know, maybe it's like a cop out, but like, maybe if some other certifying body could come visit and check the boxes and say that these things are all really happening, then that would give a customer greater confidence or something. I don't know. I see a lot of people out in these Facebook groups who are just like, my word is my bond, and my people, they want to know about my product. They come to me and I tell them. I'm like, that's great. I'm glad that works for you. And if you're not having any issues with selling all the product you have and growing, then I don't think there would be any benefit to certification.
So what we do, we have an advantage because we sell most of our product from the farm store. And if people have any questions, I load them up in the truck and take them to the field.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And we do a lot of farm visits, a lot. So there's a lot of people that come and visit us, and we explain exactly what we do, where the calves come from, how they're wintered. We have the whole process. I know my guys aren't completely grain free. They might give them a little bit of starter during the winter time. I mentioned that they get grass silage. We tell them that, and we tell them what we do on our farm and what they do, and we give them the choice. So transparency is again, it always depends on your market and your competition, but transparency is always the best. It's still the people's responsibility to verify where they get their food, the consumer. It's still.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, it's like this balancing act, right? Because how you got like, there's this niche market where there are certain customers who are like gung-ho and they're zealots about their food, and shy of like growing and producing everything they eat, they're not there yet. They really care and they want to know. Yeah. And then there's a much wider section of the market that like is moving towards healthier foods and is learning some, but doesn't know or care that much, and that's a wide section. Like, there's a lot of people you can sell your good meat to in that group. And I was just wondering to myself if getting a certification, like a little sticker, was compelling to that group,
So again, I'm not against certification. I just haven't found the ones that really work for us. So we work with quite a few different groups, and one of the ones we're working with now is sustainable wildlife, or I forget there's two different groups. So we're following the bobolinks and the meadowlarks. We're doing some deferred grazing for the nesting for them. So we're doing some extra, and within a year or two, without any actual they'll come and verify, but we don't have to do all the paperwork. We'll be able to get a bird certified certification. So those things there, that's a very other segment of, the very environmental conscious people. And if there would be more certifications like that, because again, I hope there's not going to be a lot of organic people involved here, but organic certification is to be desired, and of exactly what the end product ends up sometimes, because your certification is that day and the paperwork you showed that day. What happens the rest of the time? And we know that organics have been pushed to the limit of what is actually organic and not. Like when you have dairies with 9,000 cows, that doesn't do a lot for the image of organic milk. So I think definitely the consumers are looking for something else, and what can that be that doesn't involve us paying a lot of money and making our lives more complicated, that sure. Gives to the consumer. That's what I would look for.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine about this, and he's just like, we kind of were agreeing that, like, you can't certify integrity, right? And so, like, there's always going to be a way to cheat. If that's your intention, there's no way to safeguard against that. And I think to pretend otherwise is just silly. But, I don't know, I think like in an ideal situation, if there was a certification program that already matched what you were pretty much doing, it wouldn't feel like a lot of extra work. And I'm a little more pro paperwork than you, it sounds like, but it's not absolutely. A joy. It's not a joy.
So which ones have you checked out?
Well, so the one I stumbled upon that made me really like, wow, I was like, that looks cool, was this one called Regenerative Organic Certification, ROC. And I didn't even know that was a thing. I've never seen it on any product or anything, but I found a farm that had it that I kind of respected. I was like, wow, they have some cool stuff going on. And they had this certification. And so I looked into it, and I thought the framework was cool because it's, the baseline is like organic USDA standards. And then they've got the animal welfare. And then they also have the, like the human component, like the labor and the fairness in work practices, which is kind of overlooked a lot, I think.
Totally.
And I don't know how much consumers care about that. I mean, if you care, right? But not everybody does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I guess Gabe Brown and Alan Williams, they've come out with a one just recently too, with their certification for the regen movement, the LLC. What is Understanding Ag LLC?
Oh, that's them. I do know the Understanding Ag group. It's pretty good group.
They've just come out with one. I forget. I don't know if it's Earth or I forget what it is. I was on a meeting with them, and it just was recently out. So I'm sure it would be the farming towards the soil practices, what they would be verifying probably, but I didn't hear any more about it.
Well, so it's kind of like with this regenerative thing gaining so much momentum, it feels like a race to who's going to be the best at marketing, really, because a label or a sticker on your product only has as much weight as the consumer has awareness of it. I was sort of quickly overwhelmed when I thought this would be a good idea for a topic. And I just like went out there to look there. I was like blown away by how many there are. And so I was just like, and then like, I'm pretty involved in this space. And I was like, I don't know what that one is. Don't know what that one is. So it's like, how much marketing power does it give you if people don't even know what it is?
Yeah. And the regen movement has really opened up the door for greenwashing. Like, it's being overused by some of the poorest farmers that that have read a book, like
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I've seen people that have no idea anything about their soil, and they're not doing any of the practices, but they throw the words out there liberally, and
I've seen the same
there,
thing. Yeah.
that there's that customer that again buys from the farmer that they entrusted their health with, and ooh, that's maybe another reason why I don't go to farmers markets, so I don't have to see that kind of stuff, because it's very
Yeah.
frustrating.
That is like probably the hardest part of going. I mean, one of my favorite parts is meeting all the other farm people that are like-minded, and then meeting the people who might be future customers or whatever. That's the great part. The frustrating part is that meeting these people who are, it's hard to tell, like either willfully or not willfully putting themselves out there like there's something or not. That's difficult. That's hard to be around.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
I mean, you see it on websites too. I mean, I know some, neighbor operations that, how people operate in your space, like regionally. And then you see their website and you're like, regenerative? Really?
Mm-hmm,
How you
mm-hmm,
doing that?
mm-hmm.
And so I guess, is certification any kind of help in preventing the abuse and misuse of some of these important words for people who are actually walking the walk?
Well, what do you see that is the regenerative one? What would the one as a consumer they would have the most confidence in? Like again, I've never looked at
Yeah.
any of the regen ones.
I don't think any of them, they're so new. I don't think any of them have the traction to really garner any kind of attention from the customer. I feel like they're all just like the same at this point. I mean, I didn't even know about the one you mentioned. And the one I found, I had never seen before. So really, it's kind of where we're at in this space, because it's pretty new, is you see the word and you're like, oh, that must be good. It's like everybody just sticks it in their promotional material now because it's a good word. And
yeah. Again, I don't think we've changed the language a lot since we've been doing this for forever. Grass-fed is what works for us.
Yeah.
That's really what what we talk about. People automatically go that, oh, it's organic. No, it's not organic. It's not that. And we just try to, again, because of the way we market our product. And honestly, we were probably 10 years, like we were selling grass-fed to people who had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't even in the vocabulary here in Quebec 10 years ago.
Huh,
That's how far we are behind. And I had been doing it for more than 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, so I worked on an organic operation for a year, and I learned a lot. And when I had my own grass-fed operation, kind of smaller on the side, and I was like, I'll never bother with organic. It's just a bunch of extra hoops to jump for and paperwork. And I don't know if that was ego or if that was true. I don't know. But basically, I think that works to an extent, right? Like when I'm small and I have all of the relationships with my customers, but it's like at your level where you're at, you can't have a close personal relationship with as many customers as you can serve with the amount of beef you're moving, right? Probably. I don't know. Is that not true?
Lise loves her customers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just worry about scaling, right? Because I feel like I have a really close, relationship with all my customers at this space. But like if you scale and I start like, hitting people at a little further geographically, then what are they going to know about me other than my Instagram and my website? But like people can lie. I don't know.
So I talked about it briefly last week about Kim spent time at Five Marys. And they have no certification.
No, for sure. I know.
It's all about the family. That's their marketing. They talk very little about the process of the animals.
Yeah, so but see, that's a different kind of marketing, right?
But what are people buying?
they're buying her brand, aren't they?
Her story, her brand,
Yeah.
absolutely. And what are your customers buying?
I don't know. I assume it's the product, but I'm not sure. How do
I
you
think
know?
well, that's something you have to find out, because as you want to increase your numbers, you have to know who you're marketing to and what they're looking for.
How have you guys figured out why your people are buying?
Again, it's changed since Kim has taken over, because she's done a very good job at the marketing end of it and the storytelling of what it is we do. And so that, like, there's people come to the farm for the first time, and I think they buy beef just because they felt they had to, but they come to see the dog. They come to see Duke, like that. And then where's Duke? And they get out of the car and they've never been there. And so it's about the story that they've seen, and then they come and buy, and then they continue buying that. But there's that aspect that's just very, very big. And so we don't have a lot of people asking for the certification. A lot of people will ask me on the phone, how do you do it? And then they come here and then they do that beforehand, but very seldom about the certification. But the ones that show up to the store, they're already sold even for the first time, because they bought into what we do.
And I think a part of this plays at like geographicalness, right? Which is not a word probably, but what I mean by that is like, so I have two population hubs about an hour either way from me, east to west.
That's cool.
It is cool, but like, I feel like, I don't know if saturated is the right word, but if you care about high quality food and that's what you want to buy, you have a plethora of options in both of those population centers. And so like I can go this way or I can go this way, but when I get there, people can't come see the cattle. They can't come see the farm.
Absolutely.
Right? So I mean, I've got, there's the social media that is supposed to help you conquer that issue, I guess. But I don't know. I do have a problem with like fakery, because I feel like there are people who they have the story, but then if you show up at the farm, they don't match. But people don't care. These brands are doing super well. They're doing fine. They're profitable. They're selling off the shelves, and the Instagram doesn't match the soil, shall we say. And I guess I just need to get over that. But I don't know if there's a way to cross that divide where if I take my product to the population center, do they just trust my word, my Instagram, and that's good as long as I'm selling product? Is that maybe that's good enough.
And that's where you need some kind of certification.
Maybe.
Did you ever think of doing any events on the farm that
I would
people
like
could come?
to get to that place. Yeah. So I lease right now, so we don't own our own place, but eventually, because I'm new, and so like I don't have that tenure with my lease places, but and if ideally we'd like to be able to purchase our own place, but I would love that, because it's so true to the transparency thing that you were talking about, but like there are solid, really good farms and, producers right near those population hubs, they're like right there.
Yeah.
And so like you get the good quality product and the transparency, boom, boom, boom. So I'm like, I don't know how I compete with that, or there's probably enough customers for all of us, but
I think it's really important to identify the segment of customer that you're looking for. What was her name? Charlotte?
Who?
Charlotte. Was it 3M marketing?
Yeah. Five Marys.
No, that's Five Marys.
Oh.
Charlotte wasn't 3M. Charlotte, I can't remember her name. She has a couple of milk cows, and she sells her milk for a ridiculous amount, and she gives marketing courses. I took a session with her, and it's all, you have to bring it right down to your customer is a individual,
right?
And everything you think about is that one person. So every message you write, so you bring it, you start off to all the people you have, and you put to what your perfect customer is, down to where you're writing every message, every thought that you're doing on marketing, when you're talking to one person. And that connection then will go to many people, but it gives you a really good idea, focus of who you're selling to.
That is a really solid tip. And one I've like heard on podcasts and read before. I guess where I kind of lose my way is that like I worry that maybe I've picked the wrong hypothetical person, you know? Like, is it just an arbitrary decision about like my personality and how we run our operation to try to decide who our customer is? Or is it just a reality based on the people that are actually around your market?
I think it has to be based on you. It has to be what it is that you're projecting towards who, because again, if you don't have that identity clear, well, people are probably going to come and go. There's not going to be the attachment.
Yeah. Sure.
And I wish it's Charlotte anyway. I think it was 3M.
Oh, okay.
She's out of, I forget where. I did a conference with her once, and she knew her stuff. And that was one of the tips, that it's just so you really, because when you're trying to write newsletters.
Yeah.
What, like, what do I say, like that. But when you have it clear as if you're writing to a individual.
So I've practiced that a little bit. And the way I kind of tried to find that person was like, I just kind of picked my favorite customer that I've never had. And I thought, if I could clone that customer and they could all be like that, this is who I would pick.
Well, that's good.
When I write, emails or whatever, I'm usually feeling like it's like a personal correspondence to that person.
Yeah.
I worry that I've worried that I've narrowed it too far, because Montana, there's not a whole lot of people here, right? It's not New York. So like, I worry, maybe that's something I need not worry about, but I worry that I've made it too specific, and that is not going to be attractive to enough people to move my product.
How big are the cities did you go to?
Like 100,000 a piece, one way or the other. Yeah.
Are they both equal in we'll say salaries? Are they both?
They're close enough. Yeah, they're pretty comparable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's a lot of influx of people moving into our space, which is going to be a good thing. But yeah, I just been thinking about like how to differentiate yourself in the marketplace and that kind of thing. Because there's not a lot of people who are practicing this kind of agricultural well that have gone after certifications. And maybe that's because of everything you've been saying. Mm-hmm. And I have felt that way as well. But I just thought maybe if it would give me an edge, I would do it.
But what about the American Grass-Fed Association? Is that not the certification of what we do?
I like those standards. That's the standards that the group is based on, just so we can have some consensus. But and there is one gal very close here to where we are that has it. And so I was like, of all the things to differentiate my operation from hers, like that's probably not the one because she's already got it. But it is a really solid one that you see it on the meat and you recognize it as that is good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. There's another one, because that's one thing that people seems to be a concern is the slaughter process.
Yeah. And
I think is there a certification of slaughterhouses or how the animals are treated? Because that seems to be, that's another one that it would have some interest to some people, I think.
Well, yeah, so I'm not an expert in this, right? Because I don't have any of these, but in looking at some of the standards, I did come across that, and it said that the processor you use has to have some sort of third-party standard as well. And the one we use in our town here, we're lucky to have one so close. It's USDA inspected, and I was reading our like USDA organic certification, and it had this like slaughterhouse kind of quality thing. I don't know how they judge the humanity of it all, right? I haven't read those specific things. My personal experience, the most human thing is shooting them in the field. You know, like they're happy in their life and then they're dead. That, you know, as like a hunter, that feels, but no one allows for that. That's not allowed. So that ain't gonna happen. So I don't even know what they judge is like better or worse in that sort of realm. It all seems bad. As soon as you like, you show up, you know, it's not a happy place.
Yeah, I think it's based on the animals are separate from other species. The penning is, you know, not slippery. They have adequate space and bedding. Everything. I think it's the before process is as stress-free as possible.
Yeah, I saw one thing in there that said like they're not able to see into the space where they'll be once they're dead. So, like that would be nice, I guess.
And we have a saying here that we tell all our customers that our animals have a really great life, just one bad day.
Yeah. Do you guys do you do anything like when you bring them in? Is it like same day? Like you bring them in and then they get on the trailer and go, or?
It depends as it changed just this fall, but we used to always go in the afternoon, bring them up, put them in the corral, and we would usually load them between say 5 and 7 at night, and then they'd go to the slaughter barn and they'd be processed in the morning. But now it picked up right away in the morning and go. So we bring them in the afternoon, again, the same thing, bring them up, have them ready. And it doesn't seem to make any difference in the quality of the animals. And it's 20 minutes away. That's so yeah, we're very privileged by that. It was the daughter of the slaughterhouse, or the slaughterhouse owner himself would come and get them. So again, that period before where they have time to calm down, whether it's here or there, I think that's valuable. We've never had a dark cutter there.
Yeah, is that what causes that? The stress right before the processing?
It doesn't help. It doesn't help. There's other factors, but that doesn't help.
I think one of the standards in many of these certifications is the use of like cattle prods. That's one that's in there.
Yeah.
And then like some pick up like on branding and others don't pick up on that. That some will do the thing about dehorning and others don't mention that. So really, it's really like what you said though. It's like what the customer you're trying to sell to cares about.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think that, and well, that's again the transparency, and I think it probably comes to, you know, you have a good point, is that what happens, you go to the next level and you're shipping. You've never met a customer, you know, like how do they know who you are and what you do?
Well, I mean, I'm a huge fan of like the local food scene. So like, I don't really ever want to ship, and I throw no shade on people who are all about it and that's being profitable for them. I think that's great. But like just personality wise, like I really am interested in feeding my local community. And although we're pretty rural, like I think an hour this way and an hour that way still counts. So fortunately, I think that's enough for us to be able to, you know, be profitable and grow. But I know some people, like if they're not going to ship, they really don't have a market. So
how many head would you like to get to?
Like 50 direct marketed a year would be really good, I think. I think any bigger than that, I would worry about not being able to direct market it locally. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not lived in that space to feel like what that feels like, but I mean, you guys don't ship, do you?
No.
So you're able to move what, like 100 head a year?
125, 50, 60 hogs and 60 lambs. Yeah.
So all of your sales channels are just people right there?
Oh no, people come, like Montreal's an hour and a half away.
Okay.
The biggest town, Gatineau, is about half an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay, cool.
We have no local customers.
Okay,
From our town, that's 5 miles away, we have maybe one or two.
sure. Yeah, I mean, the town, like, where we live is 1,600 people. So like, you can't really base any sort of sustainable, profitable business off of a market of that size. But, you know, 200,000 people within an hour, one or the other, is totally enough to work with.
Yeah. 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 So you go to a market each place? You have 2 markets a week?
No, I go to one market that's slightly closer, and
Mhm.
then I direct market shares the other way. So like if someone buys a half, I will drive it there, but I don't go there and like prospect. That would be a waste of
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Okay. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Right. I guess I just need to make peace, maybe with like a higher power about the fakery that bothers me. There's not going to be any
There,
dealing with
there,
that.
there's a lesson there for you. What does that, what is that about?
Well, awesome. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom and, you know, being a bouncing board for ideas back and forth.
Mhm.
It's nice to
Mhm.
talk to someone who's been in this for, you know, quite a bit longer than myself.
There's that, I don't know how many of these I do a day, and I'm most of the time learning from other people. So it's going around the information. We have to share this.
So there is I stumbled upon this probably through one of the Facebooks groups we troll, and it was like this regenerative thing by John Kempf and a bunch of those
Mhm.
people. Have you
Mhm.
seen that?
I saw that pass by there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I signed up for it. I don't think I'll be able to like pop in and look at it, but sometimes they send you things that you can watch at your own time after. They look
Mhm.
good. A lot
Mhm.
of pretty good names on there, people in this space.
There's all kinds of, again, my days get, I don't have any work to do this time of year really, other than meetings. But anything that comes from the west, well, it's 9 o'clock here. They start at 7. It's 9 o'clock here. So I can get many in a day. Like I can usually get something from you
Yeah.
till 9 o'clock, and then I can get more. So there's, again, the quality of these information is unbelievable. The people that we've got to. There's one it's Wednesday night. Steve Kenyon, Greener Ranch.
Seen that one, yeah.
Yeah, Steve. We've been doing that for 2 years like that, and he's had all the big guns in.
Is it like
I
a
think
join kind of Zoom type deal, or how do you?
it's Zoom. It's Zoom. So the people talk. You can write your questions in, but then it's open mic at the end, so that we have an hour, sometimes an hour and a half at the end of just people talking. And but there's all kinds of them. Last night it was on about integrating basically neighbors' animals for the crop people into green crops like that. So that was like way over my head. Yeah.
That's a really interesting topic. I keep seeing, you know how like Gabe Brown and those guys talk about stacking operations? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Stacking?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why everyone's not doing that. If we could just figure out, it's like a people problem. It's not a biology or a farming problem.
It is.
It makes so much sense.
There's so much there, and I can understand. We had this conversation with my daughter, with Kim. I see these opportunities of what we can do, but she still kind of wants to do her, this is mine. So there's a period, and it's about creating synergies, but really that's all it is.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing too, is like, it's difficult to be an expert in so many things. Right. And so like, if you can find a cooperative relationship with someone who's already an expert in that, just, benefit from the synergy that's going to happen with nature and biology by bringing their thing in, and then you don't have to do their thing.
Yeah. Because you do farming?
No, I don't, but I'm looking at like bees and birds and fruit trees. I would love to see a way for those things to come together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We have bees. We've been looking at people with fruit trees. I would love to have a market gardener on the farm, set up a couple of greenhouses and go that. We haven't been able to figure that out. The fruit trees, we will eventually get them on, but again, it's a skill set that I don't know if I'd be able to do that correctly. It's planting the tree is the easy part.
Yeah, I don't know much about the market garden side of things, but where I lease property, there's a guy who has like a CSA fresh market garden, and he has chickens, and so we're trying to figure out a way to bring his chickens behind my cattle,
Mhm.
but we don't have the infrastructure in place yet. So we got to figure it out, and I've not like grazed that way before, but I'm like super up for it if we can figure it out together. I don't want him to lose his birds to predators, so there's some things we got to figure out, but
Broilers or laying hens?
laying hens.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Like once you make your egg mobile, there's all kinds of. Did you ever try any marketing with them? Putting your meat through
We're getting
their
there,
customers?
yeah. So he's only like on year 2, and I'm on year 2 too. So like
Okay.
this is his second CSA, and
Yeah.
I said, so I'm going to be like a meat add-on option for
Yeah.
his people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're kind of growing at the same stage. It'd be nice if one of us was more senior and kind of knew more what we were doing, but we're learning together.
Yeah, it's good. At your edge, energy level's good on both, so that's a plus too. The creativity.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah,
All right. Well, is it all right with you if we kind of wrap this up?
Sure.
And
sure.
I'll
Yeah,
post it on the group so anyone who wanted to join and
follow up.
listen to our ideas can
Yeah.
watch it at their
Yeah.
leisure.
I guess I have to remember to be more politically correct sometimes on these, seeing that you're taping them. I guess I don't know how to. I don't mind. I don't mind going. When people can confront me on what I say, but when it's taped, you never know how it comes out. Like, but anyway,
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that some of these things can be like unnecessarily politicized, but it's not about like the standards by themselves. It's how the people practice it,
Yeah.
And so I think
absolutely.
people can understand that if you're doing something faithfully, no one can take issue with that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate your insight.
Good.
Have a
Keep
good
up the
night.
good work. See you. Bye.